Hello and welcome to Oregon. Today I'm on the Oregon coast once again, and I'm going to be exploring a place that I've seen everywhere. I'm going to be checking out Haystack Rock, navigating the coast to get to this beach, and finally having the tide pool experience of my dreams. And in case you're new here, I like to slow travel, so this is not all going to happen in one day. We ended up staying a couple of days around Haystack Rock, and then we're also going to explore Arcadia Beach, which is absolutely gorgeous and just down the way from Cannon Beach and Haystack Rock. I've barely scratched the surface of the Oregon coast, and I've been trying to stop at as many things as I possibly can. Genuinely, there's just so much to see. There's so many beaches, trails, places to tide pool, forests, rock formations, and I can't wait to share it all with you. Today's adventure starts here at Haystack Rock. We ended up parking on a pull-off a little bit past this attraction, and from a distance, she doesn't look very far, but this walk was way further than we anticipated. So I'm going to Haystack Rock for the first time ever, and I found a really good parking spot that had bathrooms. We camped at like a random pull-off that was down the road from here, about 5 minutes, and I'm going to see Haystack Rock for the first time. It looks so gorgeous. I'm so grateful that it's not raining right now. It's not raining, it's just a little misty, a little overcast, but like I think that's pretty common whenever you're here on the Oregon coast. Isn't she gorgeous? Haystack Rock is a 235-foot sea stack on Cannon Beach, Oregon. It's accessible by foot at low tide, and it's also a protected bird and marine sanctuary. I learned a lot just by hanging around the rock. There were people with binoculars, park rangers, sharing tips and advice, but unfortunately we came a little bit later in the day, and today is super foggy, so we're unable to do tide pooling today. I did not make it to low tide today, but that's okay. There were so many people who were gathered on the beach with binoculars, taking a look at all of the birds, and it was currently nesting season for the tufted puffins. Apparently, they return from April through August to nest in the rock's crevices, and it's also home to a bunch of other seabirds. The people on the beach are volunteers from the Haystack Rock Awareness Program and are often on the beach to help visitors explore the tide pools safely and responsibly. This rock gained worldwide fame when it was a backdrop in the classic film The Goonies. I remember my dad showed me that movie years ago, and so finding this place and seeing it in person with my best friend was extremely exciting. Unfortunately, at high tide, we could only go so far, and the rest of the viewing had to be done with our eyes or with binoculars. I really enjoyed taking in the beauty of this rock and all of the sea life that it gives shelter to. And I plan to come back tomorrow to do some tide pooling. So I've been debating getting some binoculars for a long time, and after seeing that group over there with binoculars, there's so many puffin on this rock. And it has just solidified the fact that I am going to be getting myself a pair of binoculars. Yes, I am, because there's a line of people waiting to use them, and if I had my own, I wouldn't have to wait. Indy did so good while we were at Haystack Rock. They have to be on leash when you're in that area, but then once you get away from Haystack Rock, there's tons of people with their dogs off leash running around. So I'm gonna let her zoomies get out before I head back to the van, and I think I'm gonna get a little bit of work done. My goal of the day was just to go see Haystack Rock. I'm so glad it's not like misty and rainy. Apparently it's supposed to be sunny in 2 days, which is exciting, and I can see us staying here for another 2 days. Visiting Haystack Rock was on the top of the priority list. I've seen it all over YouTube, I've seen it all over TikTok, and I just had to go. And honestly, it's such a cool beach, and there is tide pooling, but right now the tide is really high. I would love to one day do like a little solo trip out here, book a cute Airbnb or hotel, and have a gorgeous view of this rock. I'm so grateful. Like, what a gorgeous day. Grand Rising and welcome to the second day at Haystack Rock. We wanted to come back because there was a negative tide this morning, so I am here to redeem my tide pooling experience. In case you're new here, I tried tide pooling on the very top of Washington and I did get lucky with one purple starfish, but today I got to tide pool around a Haystack Rock and I just cannot believe all of this was waiting for me. I saw one of these goopy guys when I did my solo tide pooling, and there was so much to see. The areas closest to the shore had the least amount, maybe like 1 or 2 starfish with tons of mussels. But yesterday I got to see all of this covered with water, so to see it now easily accessible, this is such a cool experience, especially as someone who comes from Florida. We do not have tide pools or sea stacks, so while I'm very familiar with the beach, I have no tide pooling experience. Now, while I was further out into the ocean, I was watching these birds. I'm not exactly sure what they are. Maybe they're puffins, but watch the way that they're landing. They flare their cute little feet out. It was so fun to watch. If you take a look at the shoreline on the rock, yesterday that's where the water was, and to know that this was underneath is just incredible. I have been trying to visit as many tide pools as I can, or at least that's my goal while I'm traveling down the coast, and so far this is beyond any of my dreams. I did not expect it to be this colorful and this full of life. And this wasn't even the most negative tide, like it was barely a negative one. Tide pooling has quickly become a favorite hobby of mine, and if I was ever in the vicinity to do this regularly, I 100% would. The only downside was if I were to allow you to hear this audio, there was so many people. There was so many people there, so I didn't really do much personal filming because I felt like I was just fighting to film in general. I prefer places without as many people, but that was a really beautiful and cool tide pooling experience. I've never seen anything like that before. Today I ended up finding a parking spot that was way closer to the rock, and it was just a quick walk up and down to access the beach. And because I had a really beautiful view from the van, I decided to enjoy my time, enjoy getting some work done with the view of this rock, and then I started working on this little project of mine. I'm currently working on my own art cards stack, and I'm taking these cards, just a normal deck from like Dollar Tree or something, and then I'm painting my own pictures on them. Okay, so I spent the morning hanging out at Haystack Rock and then painting. I just woke up from a nap and it is actually sunny with blue skies here and there, which is awesome. And there was a park that we've passed a couple of times, and it looks like it's like right on the beach but also kind of foresty. And so I wanted to go check that out before it gets dark. I know you're not supposed to camp within the city limits of Cannon Beach, so I'm gonna have to head back to probably our original parking spot that we've been going to every night anyways. But until it gets night, I do want to take Indy out. I didn't want to take her to the beach, and also this road is like a little bit busy, which does give her anxiety, and I just don't want her to like zip around. So we're gonna go take Pretty Girl to a different little park and also explore something new. It's almost 5 o'clock. And now that I'm feeling a little refreshed after a short cat nap, it's time to go take care of baby girl. Yeah. Okay, go back in your seat. Back in your seat. Okay, the entrance is already so cool. What? Wow. I love Oregon. This summer, while I've been exploring Washington and Oregon, my favorite part has been accessing the beaches and taking these incredible, different scenic pathways to the beach. It truly feels like something out of a movie, and I don't think it's talked about enough. Also, I have now made it into the Oregon coast on the very top, and seeing these giant rock structures in the water has been so cool. And Arcadia Beach is the first one where we've been able to kind of access the rocks like this and walk all over them, and this is both a first time for Indy and I think it's really cool to experience. There's different little cutouts in the rock that you can check out, and I want to go check out this other portion down the beach a little bit and see what it has to offer. Wow, I've never seen something like this before, and I love that there's some cutouts in the rock. Absolutely incredible. And while we were exploring this sea stack on Arcadia Beach, Indy and I got another pretty cool surprise. More for me than Indy, but while I was walking out to the edge, I ended up finding some more of these green anemones. I didn't find any starfish while Indy and I were out exploring, but I just think that it's really cool that we were able to find this abundance of anemones when we weren't even looking for them. And I hope that we can continue to find more tide pools while we explore the Oregon coast. Indy and I were really grateful that there were not many people at this beach today. There were a couple people that stopped by to explore the sea stack, but there were other portions of this beach that were completely empty and we had all to ourselves. Because I did not take Indy with me tide pooling today, I felt like I owed her a super fun time at the beach. And on walking trails, she often gets to sniff for very long periods of time. So when we're out and about out here, I love playing with her, running around, and for myself, checking out the little tide pools all around the different sea stacks. After I wore Indy out and she couldn't run anymore, I went back to the van to work on my deck of cards that I have been painting my own set of. We went back to the pull off that we've stayed at a couple times while we're in town. It's not fancy and it's not the best, and people have been really making sure their horn is working in the wee hours of the night and early mornings. But I just remind myself I'm literally living my dream life, and they're honking, probably because they're mad. But no matter where I'm parked, the inside of my van is truly a little artist paradise. And after a fun day of tide pooling and hanging out at the beach, I cooked us a hearty meal, and I'm gonna enjoy the sunset here while I continue painting. And I'll see you in the next Oregon adventure here soon.